What's up? What's up? Big Brand MMA, 139, UFC Vegas 95, Tybura versus Spivac. Let's attempt to make some money, shall we?
Shouts out BigSteve.
Alrighty. Good card, good card. Is it a good card for betting? We'll find out. We'll see. I've done a lot of tape. I feel like I have great reads. But we'll see. I'm trying to build some momentum. I'm not forcing things. I need a good August to kind of pick things up. I actually did a full year review for myself. Usually I do 6 months at the end of the year. I didn't bother doing it last year. I felt like after 5 years, I constantly see the same mistakes, and I've been adjusting them, and I just said I got to fix those. But I felt like I've been a bit of a break-even month or so for a while, and I had a look, and yeah, I haven't made 2 units in 4 months on one event. I've made 2 units for the week, with a mixture of, let's say, KFW and Octagon and UFC all up together, but not on one event. And I used to profit 2 units per event on average. So something's changed, and I think focusing on the UFC is something that's going to help me a lot. I've been drawing myself thin with a lot of regionals. Back in the day when I was making the most money, there was only UFC every week, and you tape, you retape, you circle back around, and I always say, I don't think any of us are that special. I do think I'm all right with my reads, but I think the more work you put in, the better reads you're going to get. So that's what I'm doing now. I've taped a lot of these fights a bunch of times. Yeah, the reads are already better, and it makes sense. So there's a little insight onto my 6 months, 8 months overview, but let's get into it. I'll try to keep this to a half an hour max. Mr. Lou Betcher has a show on in an hour's time. Tune in. Apparently his first 15 minutes are going to be amazing. I will only tune in for the first 15 minutes, so it's perfect for me. And other than that, I really want to get into Invicta. I really want to get into Brave FC, really high-level card, and see if I can make some money in regionals, because I've already spent a lot of time on this card. So let's get into it. First fight, Stephanie Luciano, Talita Bernardo. Obviously a rematch. A lot of money's coming in on Luciano. I actually played Luciano as a huge underdog in Contender Series the first time they fought. Didn't like how she was 2-0 down. I felt like it was a slim margins fight where Luciano really could have won one of those rounds. And now they're rematching, and I still like Luciano. I like her as a prospect. She's got that piss and vinegar about her. She's gritty. She throws in combinations. She's got no quit. She's got issues like every other female MMA fighter, but I like her, and I still like her as a fighter. Obviously, she hasn't made a debut. Talita Alencar, I played her against Rhiannon Amanda. That came down to the wire. I thought it was extremely, extremely close. Maybe I was a bit fortunate to get that round 3. But yeah, I actually rate Stephanie Luciano a lot more high than Rhiannon Amanda. So this is kind of like, I would rather play the favorite, with the combination, the striking upside. But, I've been doing this long enough that I'm not going to play someone like Luciano at minus 200 when one takedown could be it. There's a lot of things, to think about in this fight. Alencar made her debut in UFC already. Luciano is debuting. The adjustments they make could hurt him or benefit him. Alencar knows that she gassed. Maybe she doesn't come out as strong with the wrestling, but that's the only way she can cover. And same with Luciano. If she doesn't throw as much because she's scared of the takedown, this could be competitive. So I hate these binary female fights, especially. I hate binary fights in general, but when they're female fights, it's like, it just makes it even more volatile. So pass for now. I'm actually really, what I will say is, from a betting perspective, I am surprised at Alencar or Stephanie Luciano KO, $6, or KO round 3, 17, and $12 on Bet365, considering what we've seen in this fight already. So yeah, it's quite interesting. And not just that fight, Luciano has a round 2 KO on the regionals. Some of these girls that she hasn't finished, she's lighting them up as well. Like I said, she throws in combinations. So surprised by those numbers. But yeah, from a betting perspective, no thank you. I'll look to live bet, see how these girls look. I had a really good live betting card last week from my experience. Live betting cards don't tend to be back-to-back. This will probably be a horrible card for live betting, but you never know. We won't force things. Alrighty. Let's move on. Jarno, Errens, Youssef, Zalal. Jarno, Errens, popular dog amongst my circles and the sharps, should I say. Yeah, Zalal seems to be a popular parlay piece because his line just keeps growing and growing and growing. I mean, it's hard to say there's no value on Jarno Errens. He's a good fighter. I literally bet him in every single fight. So I'm 1-2. He lost a competitive but winnable fight in both the Gomes and Sungmo Choi fight. And then he finally won against Stephen Wynn. I think that was a bit of a step down. And now he's getting a bit of a step up against Zalal. The reason I haven't pulled the trigger yet on Errens, who I do think he has some advantages, physical and power, etc., is that I've seen Zalal proactively grapple for 3 rounds. If he is losing, he will grapple. He's done it to... He grappled Damon Blackshear, who also has back takedown defense, and he's done it to Sean Woodson. I bet him as a huge underdog there. Couldn't really get any takedowns, but still made it competitive enough. I don't think Errens has the takedown defense of some of these other guys that Zalal struggled to get his grappling off. So, yeah, that's what's stopping me here. I think Zalal is a smart fighter. I think he can make adjustments. I think he can keep it competitive on the feet. I like his footwork. I like how he rips the body. He's improving. If things don't work out, he can go for a takedown. The overs, quite juiced. I wouldn't feel comfortable playing the juicy overs. Like I played Choi versus Zalal back in the day, and there was a clear physicality difference. I played the overs as well. I just thought, Zalal can't bust a grape. Choi's not going to knock him out. Basically faded Zalal's submission. I think there's a sneaky chance that Zalal's submission is live here. If he gets the grappling off, as I said, Jarno is not someone that's hard to get grappling off on. He's had his back taken before. He was guillotined in round 1 before, so I wouldn't rush to play the over here. So it's a clear dog or pass. Like I don't know what you want to do with Zalal, but clear dog or pass. Maybe I come around to it. See how bad this line is going to get. Maybe just have like the tiniest poke, but I feel like Zalal takedowns might be free. All right, comments. Evan, good day, mate. Good day, mate, to you. I listened to your show before. Very nice. The Dogfather, is Zalal the GOAT? Could be. I think he's got potential for a BMF. I really like Zalal's aura. He's like a kid that he's got a lot of potential and he's a born fighter, natural born fighter. Alrighty, Karl Williams. Jhonata Diniz. That's the first time I've said his first name. That's an interesting name. I thought it was Jonathan. Jhonata. All right. So I'm going to expose my friend Dogfather. I know he has a play on Jhonata Diniz. Sorry, mate, if you have a paywall system. I get it. Karl Williams at minus 200. It's a dog or pass for me as well. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. I just watched Karl Williams' last fight against Sherman. He's fought the bottom of the barrel. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than Lucas Bresky, Chase Sherman, and Justin Tafa. You can argue that Justin Tafa was kind of like a step above those guys because he's knocked out Parker Porter and Austin Lane. But in terms of stylistic matchup, you watch Tafa's tape, early tape, he's really, really bad on the ground. And even then, he wasn't run through. I think he hurt Old Mate in the second round. He definitely hurt him in the third round with an uppercut, which is his best weapon. And then he got taken down. In round 2, he threw a head kick, and it's like you never see Tafa throw head kicks, and he's throwing head kicks against this guy that wants to look for wrestling. So I think now Karl Williams is fighting the best guy, hands down. I think we'll see that Jonathan Diniz is quite a bit above the bottom of the barrel of these heavyweights. On his regional tape, you can kind of see some decent takedown defense. He's fought absolute bums. Neves tried to take him down. He's good at digging underhooks. He's got a wide variety of strikes. Being a glory guy, he's got knees. He's extremely durable. Yes, Austin Lane took him down, but it's like Austin Lane goes for takedowns in all his fights. And he's a NRL guy, NFL guy, and he just tackled him, took him down. I think he's actually more dangerous on top. Austin Lane got signed to the UFC by getting on top and pounding a guy out cold on Contender Series, and he's done that before. It's just his wrestling sucks. I get it that Karl Williams' wrestling is better, but this man couldn't hit a takedown in rounds 2 and 3 against Chase Sherman of all people, right? So there's definitely some value in Jonathan Diniz. I'm not sure how to play this. If I was going to play Karl Williams, I'll definitely play the over. I'm thinking, do I play the under? The under is plus money. Surely correlates with Jonathan Diniz. I feel like Jonathan Diniz has some decision equity, maybe late KO upside, but I'm speculating. I mean, his cardio looked completely fine against Austin Lane. He seemed to be under control of his emotions. Like when he went to the corner, like he knew he was going to knock him out. He definitely looked a bit off. I played Diniz round 1 KO and kind of forced it last minute. And straight away, I was like, yeah, this is not happening. Diniz had like too much patience about him. You could see that he was kind of thinking too much about his next strike, and then he got tackled. So shortly after that, UFC fight, he's gone back. He knows what he's going to expect against Karl Williams. He was already grounded by Austin Lane. We've seen Justin Tafa make a ton of ground improvements against Karl Williams. So, or maybe Karl Williams is just that bad at control. So who knows? But another extremely binary fight. You just know if Diniz doesn't get a knockout, you're going to be frustrated. Karl Williams, he can do stuff on the feet. One of the main things about him is actually athletic. So he's not just a fat wrestler. He's athletic. And he actually outstruck Chase Sherman rounds 2 and 3 just using his jab. So he can survive on the feet, but I don't think he should be striking with Jonathan Diniz. So is it a dog or pass? I guess so. Dog or pass. Maybe live present itself. Maybe Diniz just knocks him out at round 1, but we'll see. It's quite a binary one. Karol Rosa versus Pannie Kianzad. This for me is a clear dog or pass. All right, Karol Rosa, never a favorite money. I see, some of the boys got an early line on her. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do any plus money on her. Some people make the argument that Pannie's washed or whatever, or that she's levels below Rosa. Tell me in the comments, what have you seen to tell you that she's levels below? Pannie's been fighting levels above Rosa's opponents. She had an extremely competitive fight with Raquel Pennington. At Rocky, at Pick'em there, I thought she should have been 60%. She lost round 1 against Pannie. Pannie's underrated in the clinch. She's actually quite decent. She took down Rocky, who has decent takedown defense. She took down and got Lena Landsberg's back, who always operates in the clinch. She's underrated. She can be taken down, and that's her main issue, and she's a bit chinny. Obviously, we saw that in the Ketlen Vieira fight. We saw it on the Macy fight. But against the clinch, she's actually quite physical. Karol Rosa, a bot, comes forward, no adjustments. That's all she is. A Muay Thai bot, hittable, no head movement, no footwork, plotting. You see her wins and losses just rinsed by Sarah McMahon near the end of her career. Lena Landsberg, they both beat Lena Landsberg. Lena Landsberg dropped both of them. They both won 29-28. But I think Rosa's extremely lucky to win. She got dropped with a straight, not an elbow. And then she did an illegal knee, which made the second round a draw. So I was surprised it wasn't a draw. Only one judge gave it a draw because of the point deduction. So somehow she won round 1, even though Lena dropped her ASAP. Maybe the judges forgot about it. But yeah, there's nothing there for me to be comfortable in Karol Rosa. She lost to Norma Dumont, who gassed in round 3, and she dropped her. She was down 2-0. I like better against Yana Santos because she usually comes on late after starting slow and giving up rounds. And even that was a split. She never attempted one takedown against Yana. She chose to stay on the feet. And Yana's extremely negative, just circles on the outside. Penny's more technical. Why can't she do that against Rosa? What if the takedowns don't come? I don't think she's covering this line. And then Irene Aldana. I don't rate Irene Aldana at all. I know everyone's creaming over her. They think she's like the top 2, top 3. But that's just the level of bantamweight. Irene Aldana got her leg chewed off by Nunes and then made no adjustments. Aldana versus Karol Rosa was like the biggest robot fight. So it's definitely dog or pass for me. But the only issue that I haven't locked it in yet, Rosa has the hardware advantage. Maybe she can crack Kianzad. Kianzad likes a pretty fight. She needs to stay safe for 3 rounds, avoid the takedowns. If she gets taken down, she needs to get up. So yeah, but it's a dog or pass for me. Sajana Eubanks tried to grapple her. She beat her. Alexis Davis tried to grapple her. She beat her. She shut down Jessica Rose Clark for 3 rounds. She had a close competitive fight with Julia Vila, only lost on big moments. So, yeah, this is going to be competitive. This is going to be competitive unless Rosas actually hits a takedown or drops her. But, yeah, Rosas is like one of the stupidest women in the division. So, yeah, dog or pass for me. If anything, I'll play Pannie decision, but the bookies are on it. It's like 30 cents difference. So, we'll see how we go. Charalampos. The Malaka Grigoriou versus Tyoshimi Kazama. Interesting fight, really low level. I don't think Grigoriou is UFC level, so minus 200 on him is ridiculous. A lot of people parroting that, Grigoriou's life for round 1 KO against Kazama. I get it. You just saw him get KO'd 2 times in a row by Gareth Armfield and Nakamura. I don't think his chin's bad. He took a lot of damage against Nakamura. And he came out there brawling with no defense. He took a lot of damage against Garrett Armfield. And he made it to, 30 seconds of round 1? And I thought that was an early stoppage. He got dropped with a 1-2. And then he actually caught himself with his elbows. Big John back in the day said, if the fighter's eyes roll behind his head and his head hits the canvas and he doesn't catch himself, you stop it. But if he catches himself with his hands, it means he's present. So he fell on his elbows and he went to stand up. And Herzog, who's usually a good ref, I think he stepped in a bit early there. But yeah, if that makes it to round 2, Armfield gasses a bit. Who knows how that goes? That's a huge step up. Grigoro is nothing like Armfield or Rinya Nakamura. I think this line is where it's at because Grigoro actually has a finishing upside early. I think he's more athletic. His hips are quite strong. So I get it. Kazama doesn't have the best wrestling. But why can't he replicate what he did on Contender Series against Karamuli? Mathamedi is another physical striker. Mathamedi reversed him a bunch. Also seemed to have better hips, but it's just Kazama kept coming and took his back and got on top and just won a 30-27. So why can't he do that to Grigoro, who tried to wrestle, Chad Alencar, one of the worst guys, one of the least physical guys in the UFC, and ended up gassing and losing at 29-28. Right? He doesn't have any good wins. I know some people actually playing Grigoro at minus 200. Like what? Looking at his career, what makes you confident in that? Like he has a loss. He has no good wins. His best win is Cameron Smotherman on Contender Series. He was a big dog there too. And if he doesn't get that round one knockout, I think Smotherman breaks him rounds 2 and 3. No good wins whatsoever. He lost to Josh Smith, 8-6 in CFFC, who tried the grappling game plan and he succeeded. He just made it scrambly enough. So there's definitely a path for Kazama. And on top of that, Kazama throws down as well. He actually, if you watch the fight, he wobbled Rinya Nakamura and he started landing some big overhands on Gareth Armfield. So I don't understand. There's a bit of value on Kazama here. You just have to fade. You have to fade a Grigoro around 1 KO. So maybe the over is a better play here. If this goes over, I think Charalampos has showed that he's quite a decent grappler, defensive. He put himself in some positions against Chad, who's a black belt, never in any danger. He's at Serra-Longo. He grapples guys offensively. He can probably get some top time, but then he's putting himself in Kazama's guard, which is what he wants. So, yeah, maybe the live bet is better, but other than that, it's clearly dog or pass. Maybe the over. Over 1.5 is, let me have a look. It's a bit juicy, but if he gets out at 1.5, Grigoro is going to be gassed. He's probably going to use his wrestling, stay safe. Might as well go the 2.5, which is plus money. Or maybe start round 3, which would probably be plus money as well. So that's where we're at from a betting perspective. Let's move on. Yana Santos, Chelsea Chandler. So I only taped the last Yana Santos fight because, she was fighting Karol Rosa, and I remember betting Rosa, and obviously they're both fighting on the card, so it's overlap. I remember Holly Holm beat the crap out of her coming off that pregnancy. Irene Aldala knocked her out. I think she has issues with her chin. Got a bit robbery against Caitlin Vieira. Vieira laid on her for 14 minutes. And then Santos got up and landed some ground and pound and won the fight. So, yeah, she's just going to clinch. She has absolutely zero finishing upside. And, a favorite, I get it, because she had that split decision with Karl Rosa where she looked good form. She had good cardio to stick and move for 3 rounds. And Chelsea is just like a bit of nothing. I tried to fade her against Nunes. I played the under because she gets hurt a lot. She gets taken down a lot. And she just kind of exists. But she's scrappy. She's aggressive, which that alone could give Yana issues, right? Yana hates to fight, and she seems chinny for women's division. So if Chelsea can land one of her 1-2s from Southpaw, LA Nick Diaz style, who knows? But yeah, no interest. Maybe I'll go back and watch some more fights from Yana, but yeah, this feels like Yana has more tools and Chelsea has more grit. Yeah, I'll have to go deeper and see if I have it in me to actually do that for that fight. Lou Betcher, what's up, big dog? What's up, my friend? Hopefully you were here at the start when I told people to tune into the 15 minutes of your show and then stop listening. Mr. X, future lines. Zalal minus 200, Tybura plus 160. Yes, that was a great dog play on Tybura. That and Choi back-to-back. Tybura was a good fade. Zalal. Fight doesn't start round 3, minus $1.40. So 120. The dog father is so close to betting Kazama decision. That's not bad. Interesting. Yes, that's a good play, actually. I don't really see Kazama finishing upside, so that's good. That could be better. Louis Becha encouraging him. Kazama decision plus Diniz decision for generation wealth. Ooh, yeah. Go the distance in Kazama 5 plus 2 or 5, not bad. Correct. My only issue is how good is Kazama as a grappler? Like, it says that he's quite good. You know, he's mostly a gi guy, but he's hitting like pretty cool stuff. He's hitting like the X guard sweep in the MMA fight, which is awesome. But yeah, I don't think Grigori's never been subbed, so yeah. A go distance could be good here. You're basically just fading the Greek dudes. Okay. Alrighty, Gris Gutierrez, Kang Lee. I take the whole whole Kang Lee career just to get a good read on him. You know, I've been watching him in LFA. He's a bit of a mid guy, a jack of all trades. But recently we've seen him just knock dudes out. You know, Tai Thang, probably the best guy he's fought on the pro circuit, and knocked him out. Just quite impressive. We heard him a bunch of times. I taped that fight on LFA, and Tai Thang, I don't remember him getting really hurt. He had some scraps in 1FC, so I don't know if Quang Lee actually hits hard or if that was just, maybe Thang actually is chinny. He knocked out Cody Peterson before that. I don't think that guy is a bit of a bum. And, before that, he's getting grappled by a lot of the dudes in LFA and squeaking out decisions. He's got a nice rear naked choke. He mixes in takedowns. Yeah, he's just a well-rounded guy, and one thing I noticed, he definitely doesn't shake kicks. He doesn't seem inspired by the shaking kicks at all. And Gutierrez, he's a king weasel. He's a really hard guy to adjust and get stuff off on, because his footwork is great. He's great on the back foot. We saw even Yong Song struggle to get a read on Gutierrez. And I laid the juice on Song. I can't remember if I parlayed him or if I called up live. Oh, actually, that's right. I called up live after round 1 because it was quite a competitive round 1. And I was just sweating after that. I think 50-45 was quite fortunate for Song. But yeah, Gutierrez was just running away and landing calf kicks. So it's going to be a big issue for Quang Lee to adjust to that. He's never seen that. It's just a huge step up for him. But he has a grapple path. Like I said, he hits takedowns. He's had some people's backs. He's got a few rear naked chokes. If he can do that on Gutierrez, I mean, we've seen Gutierrez been taken down even just recently against Song Yadong and just does nothing off his back. We've seen Cody do it, Cody Durden. We've seen old mate, what's his name? Ayori Lang do it, but he waited till like the last 30 seconds of round 3 like an idiot. So yeah, he has a path, but I'm not really rushing it. It's a big step up for me. So, and his Contender Series fight was weeks in advance. Now he's kind of rushing. We saw Fatima Climb not really be in correct shape, even though her fight was in a few weeks. I feel like you get a lot of your fitness later on in the week for your fights. Chris Gutierrez decision, $1.80 minus money. No, thank you. KO. Quang Lee submission, $21. Oh, goddamn. I said I wouldn't be donating, but maybe $21. Where's NTT? Surely that's a spot. What else? You got to play the unders. Overs are too juiced, but it's so hard with Gutierrez. Whenever I play the overs, he gets a meme leg break or a freaking spinning back fist that he landed on Dana Bakary. But yeah, I think he got dropped by Pedro Munoz. I think he has a really good chin, old mate Chris Gutierrez, on top of being really negative. So rear naked choke by Honey Barcelos. That's about it. That's like his only finish in his career. I think Quang Lee would have to do something quite impressive to finish him. Yeah, it's a tough fight. Maybe live bet, see how Quang Lee looks. Alrighty. Dani Balov, Nikolai Varetnikov. Yeah, I see a lot of people expressing their thought that Nikolai might be a good dog. It's a huge line. I mentioned it on the early teas as well. Upon taping it properly, I feel like it's a bit of a trap because Nikolai looks like he passes the eye test on his regionals, but I think his regionals are a bit underwhelming. I don't think he has a good win. DeMarcus Johnson is a flake. Luis Siniguez, bum. And Ashley Reese, despite his 9-2 record, if you watch his Bellator career, he lost to Stefan Paterno. He's a bit soy. Got hit with one left hook, just folded. Anthony Ivy, soy. I think that's Bradnikov's best win. And when he fought Michael Morales, Morales is really good in the UFC now, but Had some success in round 1 and just fell apart. I don't think he can put a good 15 minutes together. And Danny Barlow, say what you will about him, one-dimensional, has that left hand and just stays patient and knocks people out and looks to sprawl and brawl, but he maximizes his winning potential. He doesn't make any mistakes. He fights long. He's athletic enough to make you pay. He's got the huge reach and the speed. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm not really feeling this dog. If anything, I'll look to live bet Barlow after Nikolai has some success. I think Nikolai's best part, he has to get extremely aggressive. Quinlan, of all people, who I think is quite slow, landed on Danny Barlow. Raheem Forrest kind of buzzed him a bit, and he just fell down, and then he got up. I don't think his chin is really an issue. Again, I didn't see much on his regionals. He had some issues with grappling. He had his back taken, was almost submitted, and he's been submitted with a heel hook back in 2020. So maybe that's still an issue. Rodnikov, he's a sambo guy apparently, but he doesn't really attack yet. He does seem to have decent grapple defense. So yeah, I think Rodnikov needs to get really aggressive to win this fight. I don't think he's going to win a 15-minute tepid striking fight against Danny Barlow. He's just going to pitter out to a loss, or might even get knocked out. The under 2.5 is interesting for me. It's pick'em. If there was anything I would play that, because Barlow was extremely low output against Quinlan, and then as soon as he landed one punch, he knocked him out. His KO is $1.20, $2.20, so it's about 40 cents different to the under 1.5. So that way, Rodnikov is a finisher. So I would just play that to cover it, unless you think Barlow can get the KO in the last 2.5. So that's where I'm leaning, the under, and maybe Barlow KO. We'll see. Lou Betch is saying to donate. I'm not sure which fight you want me to donate exactly on Lou, but let's move on. Chepe Mariscal, Damon Jackson, high level fight. I don't mind this fight. Two veterans of the game, scrappers. Chepe, I remember watching Chepe beat Zalal when I was taping Zalal back in his early UFC, and I'm like, man, who is this guy? This guy belongs in the UFC. He absolutely mobbed Zalal, just throwing him around for 15 minutes. And a couple of losses later, I was like, it's a shame. I don't think this guy's ever going to make it to the UFC. And obviously, the way the UFC is going, he got a short notice call, and I think he's in his prime. He's 31. He's got, he's a judo black belt. He's throwing a lot of dudes around. I think he's well-rounded everywhere. He's scrappy. I used to think he's chinny, but, a bunch of deep tape multiple times on him, I realized that he's not chinny. It took a hella beating from Steve Garcia. We've seen Steve Garcia run through dudes extremely easy in the UFC, and Mariscal showed that if he was actually chinny, he would have been run through. But, I think that Brito KO is just Brito being Brito. Recovered, he was getting mounted by Steve Garcia. He got up, took some brutal ground and pound shots. Took some shots from Trevor Peake, didn't even react. So I definitely don't think he's chinny anymore. I think this is going to be a scrappy fight. Damon Jackson, again, another popular dog. I can understand it. Let me just interrupt and say, Aussie Fight Fan, what's up? Thanks for listening. Anyway, back to it. I get it. I taped way too many fights for this one. Leach is a good dog. I like him. I like him as a dog. I played him against Sabatini. I played him in his debut against, what's his name? Bektic. I think I was quite lucky there. He was down big, and then he got a guillotine. That was the day that I hit every bet. That's my best event to date, years ago, when things were a lot easier. I bet him against Billy Quarantilla, and as a dog as well. And I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew he was going to win round 1 against Billy, and then he was going to slow down. Billy was going to come on, and then there was going to be an issue with Damon's durability, fragility / cardio. And honestly, I really would have liked him to beat Billy, who I'm not a fan of at all. Billy's already old and washed, and as I said, always gives up round 1. You can note that down, that he's going to do it. With Chepe, it's a bit different. Chepe is scrappy from the first second. He's like I said, in his prime. He can be taken down, he can be hit, but he's extremely scrappy. You have to go back to his, Zalal and Sabatini fights to see really high-level grapplers against him, and he just doesn't concede. He gets mounted, gets his back taken, doesn't concede. He's throwing those guys around with his judo. Maybe he can hit that on Damon. I'm not too sure. I wish we saw more. There's more back and forth grappling fights with Damon, other than the Bektic fight. But yeah, I just think Chepe will be in it for the whole 3 rounds. If Jackson doesn't finish him, round 3 is going to be extremely sweaty. Chepe has got a lot faster hands. He's like a sniper. He deals damage in between martials. So a lot of dirty boxing. Against Morgan Sherrier. Sherrier was a lot more technical. But whenever, Chepe failed the takedown attempt against the cage, he would disengage and throw a couple of strikes and land on Charrier. That's the only time he could get something off. So in those exchanges, I think he's going to be cracking Jackson. Jackson had an extremely low output fight against Alexander Hernandez. I taped that, and that was a lot more competitive than I thought. I thought Alexander was going to run through him. And maybe if he threw anything before round 3, he would have. He dropped him bad in round 3 and then he grappled, and Jackson just got things off. So, yeah, this fight it's interesting. I'm not rushing to play Jackson. I think he's an extremely sneaky and high-level grappler. He can get the back from anywhere. I think in a scramble fight, Jackson can get the better of it just because Chepe makes so many mistakes. But then on the feet, yeah, Chepe is going to be lighting him up. He's going to be just so much more athletic and powerful. So it's a tough one. I feel like it's going long, and then you're going to be sweating it. So I kind of like the over 2.5. The people have steamed the under. I think the under correlates with Chepe knockout 2 or 3 when Jackson gasses. So yeah, that's what's putting me off the dog. But I don't mind it. You just know Jackson's going to be very good in round 1 when he's fresh. Might get the back. What I have to do is I have to retape. I've taped so many. I've taped like 8 fights of Chepe. So this fight is taking a lot of my priority. But I still have to tape his fights versus Fall Stacker, Jordan Beltran, and Guillermo Falia, who I donated on Falia in LFA. I lost that one. The Sean Soriano, I see a lot of people referencing that fight for the grappling. If you watch his career, Mariscal has never fought like that. He took 2 nut shots in that fight. I think that really took it out of him. To not have any get-ups against Sean Soriano, that something was off with him. You have to assume that the fighters are compromised because he never fought like that. No one ever has held him down like that. He's constantly scrambling. And Sean Soriano actually has really good wrestling for round 1 if you tape his entire career, and then he just kind of breaks apart in rounds 2 and 3. But yeah, I wouldn't really rely on that fight too much. He was 27, 4 years ago now. So use that fight as caution. But yeah, that's where I'm at. It's a dog or pass, and I need to come around to see whether I just play over the 2.5. But it's going to be scary, depending how gassed Damon Jackson is. Alrighty. Do we have any comments? The section of violence. Thank you for listening, sir. My goodness gracious. I walk in and the first thing I see is Dogfather on Kazama go the distance. What kind of unhinged degeneracy are you promoting here, Steve? That's a good bet, my friend. You're basically just fading Gia Christos round 1, which that's what the Twitterverse thinks is the most obvious thing. So you got to fade the most obvious mush, Some shit talk in the comments. Why is Damon Jackson plus 200? Probably because he looks old and fragile and, gassy and hittable, and he's 36. But I do agree, Chepe is, with how scrappy he is, with how slim margins his wins are, I don't think he should be this much of a favorite. Whoever you play, you're going to be sweating, so you might as well be sweating on a plus 200 dog. People keep doubting Jackson. I agree, man. As I said, he's a great dog. Bektic, Sabatini. He was an underdog against Alexander Hernandez too, right? I think he was. Billy Quarantillo. I think round 2 and round 3 was extremely close. He could have easily taken those rounds against Billy if it didn't come out so aggressive. Safe Sayudi said, stop throwing so hard. You need to preserve your energy round 2. If he a little bit less aggressiveness, he would probably have the cardio to beat Billy in rounds 2 and 3 and win a 29-28. So, all right, let's move on. We spent too much time on that fight. But I went in depth, so thought I'd give my information. Vasyl Tybura, Sergey Spivac. I was really excited about this fight on my early teas. I thought Tybura should be slight favorite, and the money came in on Spivac, so I was like, here we go. I'm going to have a good bet. I'm going to pivot from the public, and I didn't want to rush it because Monday or Tuesday I usually make my worst bets then, so I like to sit on my reads. And I've come around to it. I get it. Tybura's 38. Spivac's in his prime now. The whole weight thing, everyone's parodying the weight thing. And we've seen Spivac look much different with the extra weight. He's actually mauling guys like Sakai and Lewis. I actually bet Lewis. If you look at his early tape, I thought Lewis would get up and knock him out. If you watch his Alexei Olenek fight, he was losing the fight on the feet. So Lewis got up like 5 times in round 1, so he doesn't have the best control. Tybura's probably going to get up. Another fight where I spent way too much time taping. I went back to Tybura versus Henrique when he was getting mat returned like 7-8 times, and then he ended up just breaking Henrique with his constant get-ups. The better jiu-jitsu, he actually took his back. He took Spivac's back as well. So essentially, I feel like Spivac is the younger in prime guy. He's more physical. I would say his chin is a bit better, even though he has been knocked out in his losses. Walt Harris, Cyril Gahn, Tom Aspinall, no shame in that. Tybura always had an issue with his chin, always had bad reactions in round 1 against strikers, but he recovers. I would say Tybura has better cardio, better takedowns for sure. Spivac, he's more physical, more pop on his punches. Tybura doesn't really get his grappling off until late, unless you're an absolute bum like Tai Tuivasa, for example. His best takedown is when he locks his hands behind his around your waist, and when he catches your kick. He kind of free rolled some takedowns against Spivac. Round 1 was extremely competitive. He hit a takedown rounds 1. Round 2, Spivac stuffed all these takedowns, then went for a stupid head and arm throw. Will he make that mistake? You wouldn't think so at his current age, but you never know. There's not many fights where Spivac's been extended. So, and round 3 again, really competitive, and then Tybura just had his best takedown where he locked his hands around his waist and slammed him, and then just mauled him. There was no get-ups from Spivac. So I still feel like I want to lock in Tybura at plus money, but I'm not rushing it. I played the over 3.5 instead. I'm basically fading. I'm basically fading Spivac round 1 KO or round 2 KO. I think the only way this fight finishes is if Spivac replicates what he did to Augusto Sakai and Jared Rendera, one of the worst guys to do it. We've seen Romanov do the same thing to Tybura, kind of just go really hard for takedowns, a lot of ground and pound. Now, I feel like if Romanov couldn't do it, I think he's a lot more athletic and dangerous fighter. I don't think Spivac's going to be able to do it. I think Tybura will work his way up. It's a 5-rounder. Maybe we see them just like stare at each other. It's a scary bet, so I only won $1,000 half a unit. I was going to do half a unit Tybura plus money, half a unit over 3.5. But I usually like to cover myself when I double dip because here I'm not really covering myself. I feel like if the under burns, it's going to be Spivac round 1 or round 2 KO with like mat returns and ground and pound and kind of like a mercy stoppage like Sakai. But again, I think Sakai's a lot worse off his back. I think he has a lot worse cardio. No one's even really mauled Tybura like that and won. Henrique lost, got beat up in the end in round 3. Romanov lost, couldn't get takedowns 2 and 3. Tybura didn't even need grappling, just outstruck him. Blagoy. The only guy that beat it was Verdum. Verdum mixed in takedowns here or there and mixed in striking to win I think 4-1. I was there in Australia watching that live, but that was just a levels fight. I mean, Spivac is nothing compared to prime Verdum. So it's another dog or pass for me. I'm still deciding, do I go live bet on Tybura? But I've got that over 3.5, and that's my only bet. A bit better than Pick'em. I've got enough to win half a unit, so that's it. I feel like I'm missing something, so we'll see how aggressive Spivac comes out. And Tybura loves to lose round 1 as well. He's loves to get hurt, loves to get taken down, loves to work his way into the fight. But I definitely think the 5-rounder works for him. All right, what do we got? So that's the whole card. What do we got for comments? Damon decision. Yeah, I definitely agree. If you're gonna bet him, play decision. But what's his? How different is that compared to his money line? $3 decision. Wow, double plus 700. Yeah, definitely wouldn't mind that. But that's why I like the over 2.5. I think you can go either way. He's a big old Mexican. Aussie fight fan missing UFC Perth because he's getting hair extensions. That's all right, mate. If Tybura loses, I'll be super confused by heavyweight. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Spivac has shown that he can have a 3-round decision. He's adjusted against Ty. He got round 3 takedown against Carlos Felipe in a fight that was 1-1. So he's Yeah. Man, it's got to be Tybura. It's got to be Tybura. Tybura would have to be extremely washed. How does Spivac win this in 5 rounds? You know. Romanov the slob. Hey, that Romanov is the best Romanov we'll ever see. That was in shape Romanov without all the extra weight, and that was at elevation. And Romanov was competitive enough on the feet against Tybura in round 3. And on top of that, look how much energy exerted with the ground and pound. You could have arguably a 10-8 against Tybura. And imagine if he did that against anyone else. How gassed he would be, the current Romanov. He would be completely dead. So that was the best Romanov we've ever seen, and Tybura beat him. So, Dog says Tybura live all the way. I agree. It just depends how brave you are. I think you can have half a unit on Tybura plus money. I mean, this has got to be a pick'em, right? Actually, I could give Spivac plus money, just minus money, just because 55% younger, more athletic, more power, better wrestling. We'll see. I like Tybura. Even when he's tired, he can wall install. He's just a really good survivor, Tybura. And then he's got really good advantages that you don't see at heavyweight. Volume, cardio, and then grapples late. Good IQ as well. So he's got the better jiu-jitsu here. Spivac had his back taken, by Olenik, and Tybura can definitely do that. Actually, I don't know. He's got some competition. Shamil Gaziev. I don't know what that's regarding. All right, let's go over it. So only one bet, but there's quite a few leans that I'm gonna retape. I feel like this card last card looked awful, Dubai, and I ended up having a lot of bets. I ended up picking Dern, and I had a bunch of dogs, Vera and Alonso. Maybe they're not the best bets, but there's gonna be stuff here. So what do we got? Luciano, Alencar. Yeah, it's a fight I'm not really interested in. Too binary for me to risk my money. But yeah, I'm surprised by Luciano KO 2-3. It's paying quite nicely. General Errens, Zalal, and it's clear dog or pass. I have to see if I'll donate to Errens. Maybe you can play a quarter unit because the numbers are so huge, and then just live bet Zalal if the line narrows. Hopefully it narrows. He doesn't hit a takedown early. Jonathan Diniz, I feel like he's got some value here. I just have to see if I'm brave enough or if I want to live bet instead. Karl, Rosa, Pannie will pass, easy for me. Kazama will pass, easy for me. Maybe the overs are safer. Again, you're just fading Grigori round 1. Chandler Santos is pass all around. Gutierrez Lee pass all around. Maybe Lee submission, $21. NTT, look it up. Danny Barlow, Vretnikov, I'm not really feeling the dog. Maybe the under 2.5. It's surprised that it's close to pick him. Damien Jackson, Chepe Mariscal, dog or pass. Jackson could have a lot of grappling success early. And the over 2.5, I don't mind. And I got the over 3.5 in Tybura Spivac. I think this could look minus 200. Spivac showed good submission defense. Neither of these guys are fighting explosive strikers, which have knocked out both of them. So I think this can go long. So, and Tybura or pass for me. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. I don't know who this is, Javin NWJ. What's the line on George Hefner having a shitty take? Who knows? That guy's wild. Apparently he's a kid, but I just think he's autistic. He did well because it was on the second floor this time. Wasn't prepared for the elevation. Split to start the card. I mean, it's possible. It screams split decision, but I think both the girls have. I think Luciano has proper unanimous decision potential if she just makes a couple adjustments, but who knows? William sub. Yeah, no thank you. I'm not donating on the William sub. Just haven't seen the guy attempt it once. I'd rather just play, what's his name? Quan Lee sub for much better odds. Alrighty. That's it. Thank you very much. I'll do some Brave, do some Invicta. Hopefully have some play on the regionals because so far not much on this card. Like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Good luck.